experience and the presentation of our guests. We already know that it's coming from the Republic of the United States of Mexico, and probably all of you know this country just by the name. Geographical location, Mexico is right behind the United States of America, so maybe because of that it's easy to put in the map. But if you can tell something about how many people live there, something about the weather, the environment, and also thank you for accepting our invitation.
Of course, first of all, I would like to say thank you. I'm very blessed. I feel honored to be here. I would like to say thank you for hosting me as representative of the Embassy of Mexico. This is really something of very special for me to come to Sukarumi to convey to all of you students from everywhere in the world the message of Mexico, of the government of Mexico, the people of Mexico, the message of solidarity, of I will do a presentation afterwards. I will speak to you on the generals of Mexico, on the foreign policy of Mexico, on the culture of Mexico, and I will of course be open for Q&A session to answer your questions. Without further ado, well, probably we can start with the first slide on the presentation for having the first map, please. Well, this is a regional map. As you can see, you can not only see Mexico, but where it's located. It's in the north part of America. Lately, in the last decades, Mexico chose to become part of North America. Economically, let's say, because we signed a free trade agreement with the United States and Canada, and that way Mexico integrated into a North American economic space. But Mexico is also part of Central America culturally, and we are linked. And I'm going to stand here so just to see. If you see this part of Mexico goes to the north, and this south and the southeast of Mexico go all the way to South America, to Central America, which is also a link, a very special, a very, let's say, cultural and by language. We are also linked to Latin America and North America, which is a very interesting characteristic of Mexico, as is Indonesia. I would like to compare Indonesia with Mexico because we are a transition country. We are bioceanic, meaning that we are in the Pacific Ocean on this side, and we are in the Atlantic Ocean on this side. So we have, as you can see, from the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, different pertinences. We pertain to different geographic areas and to different regions of the world. What brings us together with Indonesia is the ocean. As the first president of Indonesia used to say, the president of Indonesia, Sukarno, traveled to Mexico 3 times by the end of the 1950s, and he used to say that Mexico and Indonesia are washed by the same waters, meaning that we share the Pacific Ocean. If you go to the western side of Indonesia, you will go to the Pacific. You will approach to the Pacific Ocean. So that's, even though it's a large distance, we are, as Sukarno said, washed by the same waters. Well, some information: Mexico is the third largest country in Latin America after Argentina and Brazil. As I said, it has just border with the United States and with Guatemala and the east of the south. We have a population of 137 million, a little more. And as in Indonesia, it is a multicultural country. In Indonesia, I just recently learned that there's almost 700 languages spoken in Indonesia. In Mexico, we only speak 63 national languages. Mainly we speak Spanish, it's like the common language, it's like the Bahasa, Indonesia here. But in Mexico, there's many languages, pre-Hispanic languages that were spoken before the arrival of the Spaniards in the 16th century. Unlike Indonesia, in Mexico there is not an official religion. Mainly that doesn't mean that people doesn't practice a religion. Mainly it's a Catholic country. In Indonesia, what it's really surprising is that there's 5 official religions that makes it very unique and that creates an environment of interfaith dialogue, which I admire profoundly. I will go to the second. You can see the economic overview. As I Mexico is the second largest economy in Latin America after Brazil. Mexico worldwide is the 13th economy. We are part of the G20 as Indonesia. But our economy is mainly based on manufactured goods. And also we have a very strong tourist industry. You will see Mexico is pretty much in the tourism sector. It's, I would put it as one of its strengths. This kind of heritage, the Maya and the Aztec heritage, is still, you can see everybody go in Mexico. This image is of a pyramid, a Mayan pyramid, in the Mayan Peninsula. Looking always in comparison with Indonesia, this is like our Boroburu, or this is our Prambanan, let's say. Well, Mexico has signed 13 trade agreements with 50 countries. As you can see here, you all know this person. This is the Mexican president. This is the current president of the US, and this is the president of Canada. Because what I was telling you, we have signed a free trade agreement with North America, and as I was telling you, we are also part of the G20. Politically, Mexico is basically a federal system. We are divided into states. Each state has its own legislation, its own constitution. There is a federal consensus of a union, pretty much like in the Brazil is also a federation, or the United States is a federation. There's 3 branches of government, as many governments in the world. You have executive, legislative, and the judicial. Right now we have a very special situation on the executive, on the recent elections that took place last year in July of 2024. The first woman president was elected. As you can see, there's Mrs. Claudia Sheinbaum. She will stay in power until 2030. In Mexico, we have presidential periods last 6 years. There's no re-election. So every 6 years there's elections and there's a new person. That has been like this from the 1920s as a result of the revolutionary process. And then there's the Congress, which is integrated by 300 congressmen and congresswomen. And there's the judicial, which consists of 10 judges. If there's like an Indonesian multi-party system, now I want to speak to you about our foreign policy priorities. Our current Mexican foreign policy. Well, I would like also to compare with the Indonesian so we have a better view of where is Mexico, its foreign policy. As Indonesia and Mexico comes from an independence, the result of our government is of a desire of sovereignty, of independence. Mexico was a colony of Spain during 300 years, starting in the 16th century until 1810. Of the 19th century, Mexico obtained its independence in 1821 after a period of war and revolution. And from there, from 1821 until now, the government and the people of Mexico has always looked for its sovereignty, its value, which in Indonesia. So we are basically, our foreign policy is based on principles, it's a principle foreign policy based on the self-determination of peoples, of course, the non-intervention of domestic affairs, on the peaceful resolution of conflicts and disputes, on the proscription of the threat or the use of force in the international relations, on the legal equality of states, on international cooperation and development, and the struggle for international peace and security. These principles are stated in our constitution, as I believe it's the case of Indonesia. Indonesia is the seat for peace is embedded in the constitution, which is something that we pursue as in Mexico. So this leads us in, as you will see, in the multilateral, especially in multilateral fora, Mexico and Indonesia have a high ratio of coincidence, meaning that Mexico and Indonesia coincide in a high number of resolutions and of initiatives. This is very important, and this is what makes Mexico and Indonesia friendly governments, friendly countries.
If I can say something, having some state principle in foreign affairs is very important because that has secure continuity. Sometimes we see that when a different party or a different president is elected as head of the state, it's going to change alliances and statements, and I'm not talking just about President Trump. But sometimes we have an example of many countries that shift from one side to another side just because the head of the state changed. So having in the Constitution some principles stated in foreign policy means that independently win the election, that country is always reliable. You know where it's going, what is thinking, and where is lying his allegiance and loyalty. So in that sense, I think also Mexico, in the panorama of the foreign policy and global policy, is always one of the most stable countries in foreign policy in the last years.
I totally agree. This guarantees that we are always going to come that we will always put forward in any negotiation, especially in the world we're living in now. Look at what's going on around the world. We will see that there's the international law is being constantly broken. We need to go back again to the principles that makes the world a peaceful place. I think that's where Mexico and Indonesia has a very common struggle in the world. And this is something that makes us proud at the end. I will continue with the presentation. Well, lately, this is something that what I'm going to say is something that coincides with the fact that there's a woman president elected in Mexico for some time now. I would say it's been already like 50 years from now. In Mexico, the feminist policies are being considered to implement across the government and to spread in the society. And we wish this policy, the feminist policies, to expand to our foreign policy. So right now, my foreign ministry is promoting a feminist foreign policy that is related to a principle of human rights. We are respectful of the rights of all the people, not considering its gender, if it's woman, if it's man. We are all equal. And that's what Mexico is promoting in the international forum, in multilateral forum. And here is some of the key components. It's a gender perspective, feminist gender roots in foreign policy, as I was telling you. There's an equal ministry of foreign affairs, meaning that, for instance, the Foreign Service of Mexico right now is trying to balance the gender gap, because there's more men now in positions, in important positions. So there's these policies of affirmative policies to try to balance this gap. And there's a gender equality in the policies representation, as I was saying, and the intersectional feminist approach. We share this kind of policy with countries as Chile in Latin America is also promoting this very strongly. I understand that Colombia is also very strong now in this kind of policy, and I think this is something that this is a very far-reaching agenda. I think it's a vanguardist, is far-reaching, and we can see to the future what is that what we are aspiring. We're aspiring to a more equal society. That's what Mexico wishes for the world.
Yes, I think if you compare with Indonesia, President Megawati, that was the first female president and female president of Indonesia, was also the first, and I think also the only female president in this region. So she's a good example how you can have a positive example of not gender discrimination, not sex discrimination in power.
I totally agree. This is what we are seeing in Mexico. I mean, it's a revolution of gender. Gender revolution. It's overwhelming, and it's so interesting to see and make part of it.
And sorry, just because we are talking about women, in your presentation there is this little logo, 2025, another women.
Yes. So, as in Indonesia, every year in Mexico there's a motto. The motto every year we change. We dedicate, we honor people, heroes, right? So 2025 has been declared as the year of the indigenous women, because this, we believe, makes justice to the women that have been marginalized for centuries, which is something that is not fair. In Mexico, we have a large majority of our population is of what we call indigenous origin, and has always, we are trying to counter racism, we are trying to counter the classism. We are for the equality and for the balancing the gender gap. So this is why, and you can see the picture of the woman with the traditional attire, and I think they look like Indonesians, right? We are very alike also. I think it's beautiful. I'm gonna change the slide. Again, well, this was the first time in many years that there were only 2 women candidates in an election. We were watching on the debates, like, this never seen before. You know, you see that on the TV or on the screens on the cell phone or your computer, debating 2 candidates in 1 year. It's like, wow, something really happened. You can see the progress of so many countries participation of women in the parliaments. Also, there's this affirmative action policies to try to equal the participation of women and men. Well, to following up with our foreign policy, what is the role of Mexico in regional and global organization? This is very useful slide. We can see the logos and the emblem of the foreign organization, multilateral organization, and the regional organizations where Mexico participates. I just want to go to the detail here. It's just very quick. Of course, because Indonesia is we are part of the same group. I find it very, very interesting. Every time we met with our friends from Indonesia, Korea, Turkey, and Australia, the dialogue flows very, very naturally. In all the meetings that I have participated with Carolina, it goes like very easy. We put together declarations and all these documents that constitute our friendship. At the end, this is a manifestation of how we look and how we are together. Well, of course, the OECD, Indonesia is aspiring to adhere to the OECD, Alliance del Pacifico, which joins together Peru, Chile, Mexico, and Colombia. World Trade Organization, Organization of American States, which is a hemispheric organization. All the America's countries participate in the OAS, the APEC, which also participates in the Mexican Indonesia. FIALAC is a very interesting organization where uniting East Asia and Latin America countries. Recently there was something quite interesting in Bandung of the FIALAC. We talk about startups. There were Indonesian representatives, young people as you, with all this entrepreneurship will and the interest on bringing technology forward and all these startups. Digital initiatives. And then, of course, the USMCA, which is the United States, Mexico, Canada, Free Trade Agreement, the G20, CELAC, and of course the UN. These are our priorities for multilateral organization. Mexico builds coalitions, advances global agendas, hosts international conferences. We support financially these organizations. We promote key issues. We advocate for human rights, minority rights, democracy, sustainable development, indigenous rights of people with indigenous collaboration maybe goes to Central America, to the Caribbean. We were always eager for such a cooperation, and of course we are concerned with global challenges. Talking about Mexico and Indonesia, our bilateral relation started in 1953. It's important because it's linked with the foundation of Indonesia. Mexico recognized the struggle of the people of Indonesia from 1945, the Sukarno Revolution, then the recognition of the independence by the Dutch in 1949, but it was until 1953 that Mexico established an embassy in Jakarta. And we, of course, as I was telling you, sharing in Indonesia the values of self-determination and of sovereignty. Just recently, in 2023, Mexico and Indonesia celebrated 70 years of diplomatic relation. Indonesia was the first country that Mexico recognized its independence in Southeast Asia. Is the oldest bilateral relationship we have with the region. That speaks on the relevance that Mexico gives to Indonesia. And I've been only comparing with Mexico and Indonesia, so what I will tell you, probably I will repeatedly share historical friendship and sociocultural, political, economic similarities. We have mutual interest in law and multilateral system. We share beliefs in international values, mutual values on various international issues, democracy, human rights, climate change, of course, education, health. And we collaborate in fora, as I was telling you, like the United World, WTO, G20, WIPA, FEDA, Pacific Alliance. Indonesia is observer of the Pacific Alliance and ASEAN. We are aspiring now to sign the Treaty on Amity and Cooperation with the ASEAN that will happen this year. By that way, we will become a partner for the development of the ASEAN. See some images of participation. As you can see, the President at that time, on a visit that's a visit of Mexico, the Mexican President to Indonesia. You can see there's bilateral trade and investment. Mexico and Indonesia trade every year, the amount of $3 billion a year, varying depending on the year. But it's an average beginning of years, exactly. Yeah.
So, can you please just summarize in a few words what is the purpose of APEC?
Well, APEC looks for basically the free trade. If I'm not mistaken, it was created in the 1990s, and with Mexico and Indonesia, we need free trade, and APEC promotes a regional Pacific ring free trade and exchanges of goods free of tariffs in general.
So, if you want to think that way, right now we see that tariffs are normally used as a weapon to establish a different kind of law, protection law. But still there are associations and organizing institutions and international organizations that want to decrease tariffs so to promote the free circulation of goods and also of people. If you put it that way, also the regulation that allow people to enter in a country without a visa or with a visa on arrival is also a kind of agreement of circulation.
Yes, what we are seeing is a commercial war.
contrary to what has been established in many treaties, we are seeing now as if we are going back in time, right? As if we are going back to the 1980s where there were these policies of import substitution of imports, where there was like free trade or free tariffs. Now what we are seeing is that that contradicts all the treaties that have been signed. I mean, APEC allows trade on countries like Mexico and Indonesia. Indonesia right now is adhering to another agreement. Is the CPTPP. It's also a Pacific Rim, a new Pacific Rim treaty allowing for more trade. If Indonesia adheres to the CPTPP, hopefully so Mexico and Indonesia will trade more, so we'll have probably more Mexican products here in Sugar. That will be great, of course. We will wish to have more Indonesian goods in Mexico, or more Mexican goods in Indonesia. And the only way to do that is to lower tariffs. Let's find a way to trade more. G20 is something very special for us Mexico and Indonesia.
Because this is where the this is where we find a common positioning in various issues. It's now working. So the G20, as I was telling you, we have recently, it was in 2022, Indonesia presided, had the chairmanship of the G20. There were along the year many meetings where I personally participated, and I was able to see how these dialogues allows us to know more of each other and to collaborate and to cooperate, to find common ground for having a better standing, a better for our people. This is something that we look also to, let's say, land, to take all these initiatives to benefit the population. So G20 is an interesting forum. It's taking place these days. Recently there's meetings in Johannesburg. Currently the chairmanship is on South Africa. So you can see it's a very diverse group joining the 20 largest economies in the world. This meeting, this is the last president's meeting. There's President Prabowo, from the president from Turkey, president of Mexico, Prime Minister of Australia, and the president of Korea. This happened just recently in January. As I was telling you, our trade and investment, we have a total trade $2.7 billion. Mexico exports to Indonesia electronics, metals, machinery, chemicals, cotton, and Indonesia exports to Mexico vehicles, footwear, electronics, rubber, machinery. In Mexico, there's some companies, Mexican companies in Indonesia. Probably you've heard about the Cinepolis theaters. These are a Mexican company. And there's recently opened a huge pipeline manufacturing plant in Central Java. And there's family entertainment. There's a chain of children entertainment sites. They are called Kidsania. They are in shopping malls I think in Jakarta and in some other parts in main cities in Indonesia. And And the Indonesian firms in Mexico, they are plastics, they produce plastics, chemicals. We have agreements on science and technology, on agriculture, on taxation. Recently, this is very important, Mexico and Indonesia signed an agreement on halal certification. By that way, Mexico will be able to export its products with the halal certification. We understand this is utmost importance for the Muslim market, for the Muslim community here in Indonesia. So this is a very important step for Mexico and Indonesia trade. The halal, we're going to have soon the halal stamp in all Mexican products. Look some pictures on what we do on the embassy. You can see the meetings that we have. We have meetings with Gary. We have meetings on the right side is the Mexican embassy. On the left side there's the Cali offices. We received a delegation of students and entrepreneurs.
That means also that we can go to visit you in Jakarta.
Of course. We love to host students to talk to dialogue and to find ways of cooperation. Of course. It's something that was very important for us. We hosted the Navy ship from Mexico last year in September. The school boat of the Mexican Navy arrived in Jakarta. It's a beautiful boat, like 90-meter sailing boat. They come all the way from Mexico to Asia, going down from Japan, then to Vietnam, Philippines, Singapore, and finally to Jakarta. And from Jakarta they went all the way south to Australia, and from there all the way north to Acapulco. Can you imagine a trip like that? It was amazing moment. And you can see some more photos of our work in the embassy. This photo is taken on the ship. On the ship we hosted people sitting on Miami on the ship. She signed the book of special invites. We felt honored to host her in the Mexican book escuela con the ship. And of course, culture is something very important for us. We call it the soft power. We love Mexican gastronomy. It's been, I'd say, it's been expanding. There's many restaurants. Of course, in Jakarta there are, I would say, at least 5 or 6 Mexican restaurants of different, of course, qualities and prices. You can have a very fine dinner, and you can have also street food. So I would put it, Mexican food is democratic, it's for everyone. And we are negotiating with Indonesia an agreement on creative industries. We love cinema. We are promoting cinema in Mika. We had a festival, a movie festival of Mika in Jakarta. There we are inaugurating exhibitions. We hosted Miss Indonesia because she was traveling to Mexico, so she visited us first, and we spoke to Miss Indonesia. So basically, there's more information on how we can relate with Jakarta, with Indonesia through sharing our culture. Afterwards, we're going to have a podcast recording, and we're going to speak on soft power.
Yes, I suggest all the students attending this meeting to also follow the podcast of the university, because every time one of our guests is coming to the auditorium, will be also interviewing the podcast. So it's not going to say the same things all the time, and there will be also different questions. But talking about culture, if I can ask something if you have some books or movies about Mexico that you'd like to suggest, so also our students, why not also the lecturer, can understand better the culture of Mexico and the understanding, maybe also the history. Yes.
Well, I would suggest you, if you're into platforms, you would look for, there's right now a series, it's called like water for chocolate. In Spanish, it's como agua para chocolate. It's a beautiful story on Mexican traditions, on Mexican gastronomy. Chocolate it's made of cacao, and they make plant from Mexico. Aztecs and Mayans consumed the cacao, and when the Spaniards arrived, they tasted it and they discovered something that then went worldwide. Originally, the word chocolate is a Mexican word. Aztec is an Arab word. And like this series is a series like Water for Chocolate depicts the tradition of the culinary in Mexico, and there's a lot of story, of course. There's always the attractiveness of the landscape.
And that is also very funny because Indonesia is one of the largest producers of chocolate. But chocolate is not original from Indonesia.
It's originally from the Americas, from Mexico, from the southern part of Mexico. It used to be our coin. It used to be the way of trading. In the Aztecs, they traded with cacao. It was like the currency. So it is very valuable from that time. Chocolate is so important. I would say it's fundamental. Who doesn't like chocolate? I love it. What do we have ahead? What is for the future? We're in the middle of geopolitical uncertainty. We have economic dependence. Something that Mexico is characteristic of Mexico is that probably 85% of its trade is with the United States. And now that makes us vulnerable in a situation where the United States is increasing its tariffs. It's starting a commercial war. Mexico needs to diversify its economy, its trade. I think Indonesia is can be a great partner for Mexico to expand both our trade and not be too dependent on Mexico, in this case, to the US. When there are security concerns, of course, we are seeing wars around the world, we are seeing conflicts that don't get a solution. There's the threat of nuclear weapons. Who would have said that the nuclear threat is coming back? By the way, Mexico and Indonesia, they share the ban the treaty on the banning of nuclear weapons. We don't want nuclear weapons. There's environmental and energy issues. We have to diversify partnerships as a solution, of course, strengthening diplomatic alliances. We need more diplomats in the world. We need more diplomats. I hope that from this school, there will be diplomats that have the view of the local to the global, that have a great panorama on what's going on in the world, what's going on in Indonesia, what's going on in Africa, what's going on in America. We need the young diplomats. I hope that some of you will become diplomats. We need to enhance security and cooperation. We need to advance sustainable development. We were talking just right now on the geopark that you have here in Sukaroni, and that's something that we can cooperate with Mexico on the experience, on the conservation of nature, on the conservation of the species, of the animals, of the plants. We all want that in the world. We need more green in the world. We have to boost our soft power to adapt to the current situation. We need more interfaith dialogue. We need more dialogue on the nation. We need more diplomacy in general. Well, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Interim, Makasi Mañana. You can follow us on our Instagram, Facebook, and X.
Before starting the question time, I would like to say another time to our honorable guest. We really started this year with enthusiasm, this international talk, and it's also nice not to just have some seasoned diplomats coming here and sharing their experience, but also to have passionate young men and women that want to join the same engagement. So please, I really talk to you as students. Just because, for example, you work and study in an international environment, you are already diplomats. You are bringing with you your country, your culture, your experience, your knowledge. You are already stating a bridge. And because of that, I would really like to encourage you to give as many questions as you want, be free, and maybe just to break the ice, I would like to start with just some consideration. You talk about multilateral. What is your opinion about that? Is going to be similar to BRICS? So to a process of enlarging the platform, or the 5 countries that are already in, they will strengthen their links, or maybe they is a overcome institution, I don't know.
I think that has a lot to do. I think that as a group we have to develop more what we want as a group. I don't see it will become a BRICS. It's not like a new BRICS. No, we don't have the same initiative as BRICS as to, for instance, BRICS now is advocating for using different currency other than dollar to make trade. We are looking rather to find our commonalities, our common standing in global issues, but we still have to make MICTA to be better known around the world. MICTA joins countries that are regional leaders, that are transition countries, as you see. Turkey is a country that is between Europe and between Asia. You see Australia that is in between, well, it's a continent on itself, but it's also a partner, a dialogue partner. You can see Korea as a country that is in between China and Japan. I think these are very interesting countries if you see them if you see closer to each of them. As I was telling you, the dialogue flows naturally every time we met, but I don't think we are looking to expand MICTA for now. There's no an initiative to include more countries in the short or medium term.
Talking about also the engagement of Mexico with other multilateral institutions, what do you think would be the role in Mexico, in the United States, or if there is some special issue that right now Mexico is taking care? You just named feminism, for example, and gender equality, and I don't know if there are any other battles that are now at the heart of the Mexican diplomacy.
Well, I think that always coming back to our principles is contemporary. We have to do it every time, and again to go back to our principles of foreign diplomacy. There's some say that there's nothing new in diplomacy. There's always the same principles and then from there to negotiate the solution of conflicts. Mexico and the United States, we are neighbors. understand each other. And we have to, the only way for a region as complex as the one that goes on a border such long as with Mexico and the United States share a border of 3,000 kilometers from the Gulf of Mexico, now they call it Gulf of America. For us it's going to be always the Gulf of Mexico. So to the Gulf of Mexico, to the Pacific Ocean, to Tijuana, there's a 3,000 border, it's too long, there's not an exit. We will always be there, we have to negotiate, we are neighbors, we have to dialogue, we have to cooperate. There's a problem of migrants, there's a problem of drug trafficking, to make just some of the issues that we have to face every day. But we have learned to negotiate with our neighbors. And we privilege the dialogue, and there's no other way to find a solution. We have reached some understandings, but we need to work more, for instance, on arms trafficking from the north and drug trafficking from the south. That is the central issue of the bilateral agenda. Mexico is doing its best to counter the cartels, and I think that we are going to succeed. Mexico is a country that has family values, that we are like Indonesian people that likes to help each other. There's a solidarity based community. We don't like people killing in the streets. We have to face these problems
I think we can just start with some questions from the public. So I think, okay, we have already the microphone. You can just raise your hands. And please say your name.
Yes. I would like to hear from you first.
Hi, good morning. I'm Professor as well. I have one question regarding how Mexico navigates complex balance of trade relations with the United States under United President and the rising influence of China in Mexico, Latin America.
Would you like to collect more of the
Estimating times or this is a characteristic question that is covers many issues that for Mexico, of course, well, Mexico has a trade agreement with the US and with Canada. We provide privilege to this agreement. We understand the position of China in this trade war. China is a great nation, it's a great country. We respect the government of China, and we would like to trade more with China. Still, our geographical position as partners of North America, we privilege this situation on responding on your question on how we navigate this trade war. I think it's very clear that Mexico privileges its partnership with the North. We have in Mexico, there has been a very long tradition of Chinese people hardworking people, and we have cultural exchanges, we have cooperation exchanges with China, and we respect pretty much the struggle of the people and how they have become a worldwide power. It's a worldwide power, and we really respect that.
Other Another question?
First of all, thank you so much for your very good presentation and enlightening us on the topic of foreign policy and cultural relations of Mexico. Yeah, but there is one attention which captured from your presentation. And in that sense, I would like to ask, what are the implications of Mexico's participation in comprehensive and progressive agreement for trade and trans-Pacific partnership for its trade relations with Indonesia? Because as CPTPP, although Indonesia now officially joined BRICS, and after that the question comes of changing the currency, right? The BRICS currency, yeah. But after that, the USA President Mr. Trump also mentioned in one of the press conferences that if it happens, he will apply 100% taxation on the trade and tariffs between the Asian countries. So I would like your comment on that. And because it is also very diplomatically and politically sad for me, because we do not have investor of Mexico here, which also before an opinion in a way that advancement and of course the importance of relationship with Indonesia and Mexico. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm not trying to answer. There's so many issues and subjects. Well, of course, Mexico supports Indonesia in joining the CPTPP. It has been proven that this agreement enhances trade among partners in the Pacific. For instance, Vietnam and Malaysia are part of the CPTPP, and currently Mexico and Vietnam and Malaysia trade more. We have to recognize Mexico and Malaysia trade more than Mexico and Indonesia, thanks to the CPTPP. So hopefully Indonesia will join this agreement so that we have more trade between us. And the second part of your question is what we do. Marco was just saying that using tariffs as weapons. Why is it that we're seeing this manipulation of what has already been agreed? We have an agreement and we are based on trust. So we need to create trust. We have to create the confidence on partners. That's what is behind all these agreements. There's governance that we can rely on. So I think that we should work more on making our governments more reliable by governance, by enhancing democracy.
Other students from there? Maybe 2 questions in the time instead. Sorry, can I ask you, when you have the microphone, put the hand here, not here, otherwise we are not going to hear you very much. Thank you.
Bueno, realmente yo soy de Perú y me han pedido que haga preguntas probablemente en el tema de la puedes poner por ejemplo la puedes poner sí, aquí lo voy a hacer el tema de que se ¿se escucha?
Siempre considera que por la innovación y la tecnología en el fortalecimiento de las relaciones bilaterales entre México e Indonesia, especialmente en áreas como el turismo cultural, el intercambio académico y qué iniciativas podría impulsar la llamada para aumentar la colaboración entre estos ámbitos. La siguiente pregunta es, considerando que es importante, ¿no? Hoy en día desempeñan las empresas como las llamadas pequeñas o medianas empresas en el desarrollo económico de ambos países, ¿qué iniciativas específicas están impulsando la llamada para aumentar la colaboración y el intercambio comercial entre las pymes mexicanas e Indonesia? ¿Y cómo se están abordando los desafíos que enfrentan estas empresas en esta crisis a nuevos mercados? Me han dicho que se podría explorar en inglés.
Gracias. Entonces tenemos también estudiantes que hablan español.
It's a glad to hear there's a representative from Peru, a country with which Mexico shares. We have a very similar history. There were also pre-Hispanic cultures. There's the Incas and the Aymaras. There's ancient civilizations in America. We are very much alike, Peru and Mexico. And every time I was in Peru, I really enjoyed my time there in South Peru, in Machu Picchu, of course, in the Titicaca Lake region. Beautiful. Where are you from? Lima, he's from the capital of Peru. Beautiful. Well, he asked me about how can we enhance cooperation, academic cooperation through technology. That was about the question. Well, I think I see a breaking point in pandemic where we started using more and more technology to communicate, and I think that we should enhance this use of technology to learn more from each other, to create more cooperation among universities. We are signing agreements of cooperation between universities in Mexico and universities in Indonesia. Of course, technology and science, math, technology it's a priority. We need more engineers, and we are currently observing how Indonesia is working towards creating a semiconductor industry. This is for the security of our supply chains. We have to secure that the semiconductors are produced on a diverse environment, not only in some countries, as we've seen. China is producing the most of the semiconductors. I think that if we share this technology to other countries, as Indonesia, as in Mexico, we can diversify our trade and diversify our supply chains. Indonesia has already experience on car industry. I think that Japanese companies have a strong feet here. The Toyotas and they are very strong here. Mexico has also a very strong car industry, but that needs the semiconductor autonomy. So we are observing closely what is going on in Indonesia, semiconductor industry. I think that that's something that I invite you to do some research about it, because I think that's part of the future that we are facing.
Thank you. And another student is working there. Wow. This week is very productive.
And my question goes to you, sir. Are there any
varies the number of the scholarships. Normally it goes for 5 scholarships. So it's a very, let's say, many people who wishes to participate. We hope that we will have participation from this university. Speaking of Algeria, she's from Algeria. Yes. We met in Algeria.
Yes, I just realized that we know each other from 8 years now.
So we admire and love your country.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hello, my name is Daniel. The question I have reason for the points trading economy in Mexico. So, from the perspective of foreign investment, what do you think about in one sector in the when foreign investment should solely invest when it comes to trade and economy without having negative effects in Mexico's foreign policy?
Yes, sorry, can you speak closer to the microphone? Thank you.
Okay, I said, let's take it from the perspective of trade and economy of Mexico. So, to your own perspective, what sector or what should foreign investors solely invest in Mexico without having a negative effect on Mexico's foreign policy?
Thank you. I'm gonna use the map so that you see what currently Mexico is working on to find a way to go from the Pacific Ocean. Oh, perfect. So to go from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic. This what we call this narrower part of Mexico is called the Istmo de Tehuantepec. I want to complement the Panama Canal because Panama, you see, there's the maritime routes. Although from here we are creating a new route coming from the narrower part of Mexico, and the idea of what is also actually developing and responding to your question on where is Mexico. What I understand looking for investments is on creating economic poles, economic spots along the channel. It will be communicated through train line and through fast-speed highways and creating ports on what the ports already exist on the Pacific side and on the Atlantic side. So Mexico is actively looking for investment into these poles, specifically in sectors as green energy, as I was saying, the semiconductor production, looking for the new frontiers of development in this area, in this region. I think I believe I answered your question.
My question may be to tell us what the education opportunity for Indonesian and international students also will get from Mexico. Thank you.
Well, yes, there's the scholarships that we offer for Indonesian students. Every year there's a call for Indonesian students to apply for a scholarship in Mexico, in the public universities in Mexico. There's a monthly stipend that
everything of our also what I want to do in our university and of our university. So I'm originally from one faculty in Indonesia, of course, and I'm originally from Indonesia, sir. So nice to meet you and nice to see you in our university. But the first time I'm so sorry because I'm not fluent in English, but I'm will ask you a little question. We are Indonesian people, have many issues in Indonesia, of course, in this time and in this moment. But to be honest, we have interesting about how to Mexico situation, condition, and things. So, because we are interested to go to Mexico, and my question is how do we can go to Mexico with our visa, and if we have opportunity to change our nationality and how to change our nationality for Mexico.
I suggest you to find a very good Mexican woman and no, behind the joke, what are the legal requirements if an Indonesian wants to go to Mexico? Do they need a visa? What is the application? Now we are also in charge of the visa.
Yes, of course, there's between Mexico and Indonesia, there's this request of people, Indonesian going to Mexico. They need to request for a visa, and there's like a process like in any other country for applying for a visa. If you need the request, please let me know, and I will send you what are the papers that we will ask. Well, there's basically also an interview, and from that there's this issue, right? So just let me know if you need to go, and we can send you the information. And for becoming Mexican, well, I think being Indonesian is great. Why would you like to change to Mexico? We're very much alike, so it's good. Just in case, why would you like not to be? Well, one thing that is interesting about the Mexican nationality is that there's the possibility of what we call the dual citizenship. The Mexican can also have another nationality. There are around, in the US, living around 30 million Mexican Americans that have both Mexican and US passport, which opens a lot of possibilities. Indonesia, as far as I know, doesn't allow the dual citizenship. I believe with its own policies, apparently there's, what I understand, there's some privileges for Indonesian abroad that have other nationalities. They don't need a visa to come to their country. That's a privilege that I understand it's granted for Indonesians not having the Indonesian nationality. And one of the Mexican interesting things also is that in case you have a visa from Schengen or from Japan or from the US, you won't need a visa to go to Mexico. So many Indonesians already have the US visa, for instance, and they don't need to ask for the Mexican visa. So also for the case of European, those who have European visa, they don't need a Mexican visa. So that's something that helps a lot for bringing. Of course, we welcome tourists from everywhere in the world. It's our main industries, tourism, and we also like for people from the world to come to visit us.
much. I think there is one last question because also we have a lot on your schedule.
Mr. Alonso, thank you very much for your presentation to us knowledge of Mexico for our students. We are really celebrating what we achieved in Portugal was integration of the university was college students in the region for the final university. Students who study at Nusa Putra University.
Mexico is also an example of self also a different kind of Spanish, a different kind of culture, and that the inside what also is historical development. I want to say another time thanks to all the organizers of this meeting, and of course of you students who attend. Thanks for your question, and okay, I'm sorry if there are many questions that we don't have time to develop or listen. Please give your professor or other official. Maybe we can bring it out to the podcast, or we can just start